Hi and welcome back to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗀. Today guys, we are diving down into the charts to take a look at what has been going on with Vechain. As we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗀. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. Fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not check it out today? Right, let's get right down into business here. Let's take a look at Vechain here. This is the hourly chart. We are paired up with USDT and we are using Binance as our data source. As you can see, we had this impulsive break and this impulsive move to the upside triggered once we went past the 1.618 here on this third wave upwards, right? So it started off its life as an ABC correction. Once we went past 1.618, and this basically meant that this was actually 1, 2, 3 with a fourth wave pulling back down and then a fifth wave going higher. Okay, we also see that we touched this point here and we could articulate it slightly differently, as in this is the fourth wave and this was the fifth wave. However, inside here, you'd also expect to find 5 waves. So everything's actually looking pretty good from that perspective. We had a little bit of volatility, but it basically matches up almost perfectly to get in this high point, just up here at about 4.9. Again, just short of the resistance level up here at 4.996. We actually wicked up to as high as 4.969. Okay, so a little bit short of the resistance, and then obviously the natural turn back down. Okay, so nothing unusual there, just an impulsive break to the upside, and now we track down. Now the stochastic RSI on our hourly chart is, just coming out of the oversold area as we fight against this resistance. There's a high probability on this hour chart that we are going to push past and then probably retest this area that was resistance and turn it into a support line. So we should be thinking about some kind of small move up here on our hourly chart. So in order for us to kind of map out what that looks like, it's important that we kind of acknowledge what's going on with this move down here. Now, this looks pretty standard from the respect that this is probably an A wave just here. We move that over. We can see that we come down a little bit short on the 1-to-1 ratio. Very, very close though. A, B, and C just there, almost coming down to the 1-to-1 ratio. Then obviously we start to see an ABC up and an ABC down. This basically is looking very, very corrective. Okay, so after an ABC down, it's always followed by a minimum of an ABC up. Sometimes these go impulsive, so you always watch out for that. There's a good example of it. This is basically just a really short ABC move upwards, and now we've tracked down from this oversold area on the stochastic RSI with an additional A, B, C, right? So this is then getting us right back down in this low area. Now, we've moved that stochastic RSI pretty reasonably. Probably a bit too much for the price discovery that we've had here, or recovery that we've had. And this is not giving me encouragement to think that they're going to have a huge rise with, with Vechain here. I think if anything, we're going to see some kind of smaller ABC move that will actually allow us to articulate this slightly differently. So if we actually were to start to zoom out of this move, and we were to take a look at the 4-hourly chart, you can see that we're in this oversold area and would support a bigger move to the upside along with our hourly, which is good to see. But we should also acknowledge that this might just be an A wave down, right? So we have an A come down. This might be a B wave that comes up and then we drop down lower afterwards, right? So we want to be cautious on that. But so far, the hourly chart and the 4-hourly chart are indicating a move upwards, so we should kind of acknowledge that. Now, on the 8-hour chart, we have an overbought stochastic RSI. So this is basically telling us on the macro trend that there's going to be some kind of corrective move here, right? So again, short push up, deeper pull back down. That is being supported by what we are taking a look at here on the 8-hourly chart. So for Vechain here, the volatility is going to be there until we get that move completed. The daily chart heading up to the overbought. So as we start to think about this B wave, that will take us firmly up into the overbought area, and then that C wave should take us back down to the oversold area. And once we have the daily, the 8-hour, the 4-hour, and the hourly all in alignment, thinking that they are oversold, that momentum indicator is basically going to tell us that there's going to be a swing to the upside. Okay, but this is going to be a little bit further down the line. We're probably a week or so away from that point, if not maybe a little bit longer. But timing is always the hardest thing to get. No one's ever going to be accurate on that one. Okay, so we should be a little bit cautious on it. Now, what about that move to the downside? Where do we see it potentially going? Well, there's a couple of things on that, right? So we don't necessarily know how high this B wave is going to go. I would imagine it would be reasonable. I'm going to put this right up here at about 4.907. And the reason for this is there's a little bit of resistance in this range. And then we can see it right about there. Okay, we moved up, we pulled back, we moved up higher. We tested this line, we moved up, we pulled back down, we tested it as resistance. So if we start thinking about an ABC move here, then that area might be the area that we actually start to think about, some kind of resistance being met. And effectively, all that would be here is a big A wave coming down, a B wave coming up, and then a C wave coming down lower. And if that is the case, then our range coming down lower puts us at about 4.659. Okay, and so obviously we're making a few assumptions here. Okay, and let me walk you through this a little bit clearer, and just in case I haven't been clear already. We've had an ABC move down, very choppy, just here, ABC, just short of our 1-to-1 ratio. We then had some kind of choppy move in the middle here, and we potentially are looking for a move upwards because we've lowered the stochastic RSI on the hourly and the 4-hourly chart. We think that this is going to be an area of resistance based on what was going on right here at the top of this wave 5. Ultimately, we moved up to 4.909. We got rejected from it. We pushed through it. We tested it as support. We pushed up, and then we fell through it, tested it as resistance. High probability that we're going to find resistance somewhere around this red line here. Okay, this is the area of consolidation that we've had previously, as indicated here, and that would be an A wave. Then we'll pull back down for a B wave again, finding this area of consolidation before getting a rally up into that final C wave where we find this resistance that we just mentioned. Ultimately, that will then lead us down into lower points of about 4.659. What does all of this mean? So if I haven't broken that down any clearer, I think it's ultimately going to mean that we are likely to push up by about 4%. Okay, and then once we hit the 4% high point, I would anticipate moving down by about 5%. Okay, ultimately, it's not a huge corrective move. It's actually really short. It's very corrective. It's something that will probably play out over the next few days, maybe a week or so. And then after that correction comes in, we start thinking about a move higher. Okay, and we can speculate, what that might look like closer to the time. As you can see, we've just ticked over into the next hour, and the stochastic RSI has moved quite rapidly to the upside. This is going to indicate to me that we are likely to find the A wave or the B wave bounce and the C wave higher. Okay, if we take a look at the 4-hourly on that change, you can see it's all the way down there. The 8-hourly still needs to progress down, and the daily is actually now up in the overbought area. Okay, so from thinking about what's going on for Vechain here, short time frame, we are thinking there's going to be volatility in both directions. We're first going to move up, then we're going to move down, and then we're probably going to move up again. Okay, and then from there we have a larger ABC correction, completing the the 8-hourly ABC move. Right? Pretty standard. Now on the weekly chart, thinking longer term, everything's actually following pretty much what you expect. We're heavily oversold on the stochastic RSI, and we're still thinking about moving up towards $1. 80 cents a nice conservative target, 70 if you're even more conservative, and everything's actually looking pretty reasonable. So ultimately, the weekly chart is actually really given me a lot of encouragement to think that we've completed this ABC correction within this potential fourth wave. It's not really a fourth wave, so I probably should remove that. It's actually an ABC up with an ABC down. This continuation pattern of a trend, right? And we haven't actually got a good trend coming into it, but there was a significant amount of gains made as it was following the rest of the market. This corrective pattern seems to be coming towards an end. We have that plotted out as a 1-to-1 ratio going down to 3.5 cent. With that being said, however, we found good support already on 3.9. There's no need to go down to the 3.5. It's the most common, but it doesn't always go down there, as we had already seen an example of this on our hourly chart. So ultimately, long term, Vechain's looking very, very good. I wouldn't be surprised if we do not see these significant gains that we've been talking about for a very, very long time. The stochastic RSI being so oversold is in a very similar position to where it was over here, where it is now, and of course where it was beforehand. Okay, so climate, the market in itself is going to indicate what kind of percentage push we have to the upside. But if we were to actually consider this, to think about where we were in all of these different moves from these oversold areas, this one here was actually got that marked up already, 3,000%. If we were to take into consideration the low point down here and the rally up here, this was 267%. And if we'd have a very similar kind of thing that happened with this C wave up after their B wave move in that correction, we might start to see very significant gains moving to the upside. Whether we think that's going to be 50 cents, 70 cents, 80 cents, or even $1. Vechain does seem to be wanting to push up from a technical analysis perspective. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.